Okay, so probably one of the most asked blades that a lot of my students ask me to if I actually know about. And at the same time when I'm talking with an LEO, this is one of the blades that we have in a lot of in question. And at the same time, it's a controversial but revolutionary and innovative blade. So no ado, here's the CRKT Provoke. Now it's not the out the front automatic or anything like that, but it actually deploys faster if you got the skill. Ironically, the grind, guys, this thing is so it's supposed to be deployed with your right hand, but the blade grind is more towards the left. So I actually in a reverse grip, so I kind of find that odd. But at the same time, while I was joking around with that, it actually is faster with my left hand. So I got to figure out how to use this on that particular side. But coming from a dude who's been training with Karambit since the mid 90s, I have to say I do like this. This is not a bad design at all. So, but and it's got quite a heft of a weight to it, so actually it's much better. And it is, I believe, it's a 4140 steel or aluminum. I'm not quite sure, but it's pretty heavy, so I don't think it's aluminum. And the blade is pretty solid. I absolutely love this thing. Thanks again, John. This is also managed to acquire this thanks to my brother John on this one, and it is a phenomenal blade. Now I had this one when it was first released. Main reason why I ended up parting with that one was due to the fact that I had a lot of LEOs that I was training back then. They were like giving me the brow and everything. You do realize you're pretty much carrying a knuckle duster. And then we got into an argument how this is not a duster, and the problem is you Google my name on Google or YouTube, the district attorney doesn't have to do much to actually argue his defense if I ever used this for self-defense. So due to that reasoning back then, I decided to part with this, and it still was a good blade. It's not that I didn't like it. Fast deployment, very quick. And I remember back when I first got this, I simply had it in my belt instead of having this or inside the pants, using this little clip, because pocket didn't really do well, because when you put this in the pocket, you can't really access the hole. So you'll be reaching it like this. But putting in the belt or inside the waist, you could actually reach inside the hole, pull it out, deploy it out, and you got the blade right there. So do love this thing. It's not that I don't like this. It's not really a flipping blade, but what I like about having the Karambit is the Karambit's key feature that is what makes a Karambit is its ability to retain the blade with the index ring. That's what makes a Karambit. It's not the hook blade. You go to Indonesia and Philippines, you'll find Karambits with a different blade shape that is not all hawkbill, or sometimes you'll find a blade that's more dagger grind, that's designed kind of weird like this. Especially if you go to Java, you'll find blades like that in that Karambits or Sirocco. Depending on what the regions are, the name also changes quite a bit also. But yeah, love this thing. CRKT Provoke. Good blade. Not much. If you do maritime occupations, it is good blade to have, due to the fact that if you do have it exactly as I was suggesting, or on your vest, you simply pull it out, deploy it, and cut whatever you need to cut, like a rope that may have your mate tangled up. You can cut that off, and yada yada and so on, without losing the knife. Especially under a stressful situation, it will be very difficult to get that into deployment if it's just a regular folder. But beauty of the Provoke is you find this little notch right here. Just pressing that down deploys the blade and locks it in. Only way this thing comes apart is if you press back on this little tab. That's how you actually release the rest of the locking mechanism to actually make it fall back into a closed position. Overall, I like this, but again, just like the blade review that I just did today for the Spyderco Period, it is a slow deployment. This is a fast deployment, but slow. What's the point? It's a fast to deploy, but slow to employ, meaning it's like where you can position this is very difficult. If you have a vest with a molly, you can stick it on that and pull it out and do that very quick. On a regular pants pocket, it wouldn't work. I mean, I've tried, guys. I mean, it's a deep pocket carry, but at the same time, you can't really reach the ring from the outside with the index like that. On the inside the belt, it actually does make a whole lot of sense because you could reach your inside and have that deployed just like that. So on that side, very cool, very fast. And as I was just saying, the blade grind actually this just makes sense with the left hand versus right because how the blade is. I understand this. When I was talking with some of my students, I said, gee, it's because whoever's designing this was thinking about a right hand operator in a foregrip. So yeah, but kind of defies the purpose. The form fits function doesn't really make sense because if you use it on the grind, it actually deploys better with the left side. So it's kind of a weird thing. It might just be me, guys, but I absolutely love it. That's a good blade. For trading, obviously your contact draw point will work great for this. FFS reverse grip, you can thrust with this. So yeah, this is one of those very few holes you don't have to worry about thrusting and having the blade collapse on you. So on that front, it's a pretty natural thruster too. So that's really good. CTS, if you do manage to use this for deployment, there's different ways I will only show my students, but if I did deploy it and just went in, thrust it out, rip, my God, oh Jesus, this thing's brutal. I would actually not want to be on the other receive. Well, obviously no one wants to be on the receiving end with a blade, but this would end it very, very quickly. So my overall verdict is a great blade, but again, back then I actually had to part with it because of me being me. But it is definitely a good blade to have for those of you who have a limited option on a fixed blade carry, but want something that's like a fixed, that's very fast to deploy. Again, employment might be a different story unless you have something like a Kydex sheath, which I heard this morning from one of my students that they do have a Kydex sheath for this. But I also do Kydex from time to time, so I can actually make one if I want one. But it's a revolutionary. Again, very fast deployment, very solid locking, and it's something that I find very fascinating. I mean, this is really well thought up and definitely revolutionary because there isn't a blade like this before. So very cool. Thanks for watching, guys. Do one more blade review for you and it'll be the end of the day.